for another video. This is another live stream, as I do weekly every Saturday. And this one is part one of a two-part live stream, which is exciting. This is an album that's a double album called Everything That Dies. And the first record is, or the first album in the double album is The Curse, and the one next week that we'll hear is The Cure. And I figured that this was good timing doing it on Halloween, and Day of the Dead starts tomorrow. But it kind of has that same idea of, everything that dies will one day come back. Taking that from a line in Atlantic City, and then where The Curse comes in is The Curse and The Cure. That's coming from a Josh Ritter album, or a Josh Ritter song, I should say, called The Curse, and there's a line in it that says, she asked, "Are you cursed?" He said, "I think that I'm cured." And so that's kind of the two parts to this. And this is a really, really interesting album to write for, because I was initially going to rebrand Faith, Hope, and Love, which I played at the beginning of the month. I was originally going to rebrand that, and I ended up doing that, but just a little bit differently. And I originally going to be part of this album and just, disc one, but then I realized that it didn't really fit all that well. So I just kind of do it on its own. And then, I started writing for The Cure. That sounds funny. I have not been contacted by the band The Cure to write songs for them, but, if you want me to, more than happy to do so. But anyway, I started writing for that disc, and then some things changed. And so the person who The Curse was about, or who The Cure was about, I should say, I ended up switching that and making that the theme of the Curse disc, and then The Cure ended up being about somebody else. And so you'll hear that next week. But anyway, probably the coolest thing that happened when I was writing this was I came up with one song for each of the records, each of the discs, and they both ended up, the first two songs that I ended up writing were inspired by Minnesota artists, and there are a couple songs by Minnesota artists. And so I thought that was really cool, and so I thought, why don't I just do that for both discs? I'll just do 10 songs on each disc of all Minnesota inspired songs, and so that's where we came to. So this first one was inspired by "She's Got My Number" by Semisonic. And it was also, this is a song called Trainwreck in a Dumpster Fire. And the inspiration for the weird title, not that I need to justify myself at this point, but the inspiration for the weird title was after the first debate, which seems like it was forever ago. But after the first debate, one of the commentators said, or referred to, I think it was Jake Tapper, referred to the debate as a train wreck in a dumpster fire and inside a hot mess, or something along those lines. And I'm like, that's a song right there. Like that could definitely be a song. And so, like I said, it seems like that was forever ago. But blame my slow writing, I guess, or me having such good material elsewhere that I felt like I wanted to delay this. So anyway, this is Trainwreck in a Dumpster Fire, and She's Got My Number. We were a train wreck in a dumpster fire, A mess of one-sided desire, a broken wing raven falling on a wire. We were a train wreck in a dumpster fire. We were a train wreck in a dumpster fire. After so long, how can you be uninspired? Once you expressed interest in this art for hire. We were a train wreck in a dumpster fire. Went back just one too many times. Eventually I came to find you gave only the borderline of love that I truly needed. We were a train wreck in a dumpster fire. I was straight with you and you turned things dire. Don't know how we ever got this mired. We were a train wreck in a dumpster fire. Went back just one too many times. Eventually I came to find you provided only the borderline of love that I truly needed. Went back just one too many times. Eventually I came to find you provided only the borderline of love that I truly needed. We were a train wreck in a dumpster fire, a mess of one-sided desire, a broken wing raven falling on a wire. We were a train wreck in a dumpster fire. She's got my number, she always did. She can always see where my secret's hid. Everything about me is hers to tell. She's got my number, she always will. She's got my number, I must confess. One look in her eyes and I feel undressed. She can see right through all my little games. She's got my number, she's got my name. Late night driving with the telephone in the car, and I'm always waiting for the girl to call. I'll be lost on a lonely late night. She's got my number, I must confess. One look in her eyes and I feel undressed. All the world standing at her door. She don't even care what they're waiting for. And every mistake that I ever made, every little sin is on her display. And through it all I find I want her still. She's got my number, she always will. Late night driving with the telephone in the car, and I'm always waiting for the girl to call. I'll be lost on a lonely late night highway with the telephone in the car, and I'm always waiting for the girl to call. I'll be lost on a lonely late night. She's got my number, she always did. She can always tell where my secret's hid. Everything about me is hers to tell. She's got my number, she always will. All right, and that was She's Got My Number by Semisonic, and Trainwreck in a Dumpster Fire before that. That was my original song. I don't know why I needed to specify that. I can't think of a soul on earth who would write a song with that title. So there is that. Just one other thing too quickly about, that song. The one lyric in there was actually inspired by another fabulous Minnesota artist, Bob Dylan. And though it will shock you that on a Minnesota inspired set, I don't have any Bob Dylan planned for tonight. I will next week. He made it on disc two of this particular project, not disc one, but just disc two. But there is a Bob Dylan reference in that song. So in Love Minus Zero Over No Limit, he has a line that says, "My love's like a raven at my window with a broken wing," and so that's the reference to the where was that raven with or the broken winged raven is somewhere in there. Um, yeah. And yeah, so that was that. But anyway, this is the Everything That Dies live stream, part one. Thank you for tuning in on this Halloween. I had three people tuning in a second ago, and then one person changed their mind. I don't know what that was about, but I appreciate you for that. I do want to tell a quick story about that Semisonic album, too. So that came out when I was 8 years old, actually on March 13th, my dad's birthday. And he's not, a gigantic Semisonic fan, so it's not like that really carries any significance. But it's cool to me to associate those two things. But anyway, so I was 8 years old when this album came out, and the title track is either called Chemistry or All About Chemistry. I can't remember which. Whatever the album is not called, that's what that song is called. But anyway, I like, even at 8 years old, I was a little bit fascinated by the lyrics. And so, I asked my mom, I'm like, oh, what's this song about? And she said, well, Dan Wilson's daughter, the lead singer's daughter, was taking chemistry class and he was really interested in that. Now, I didn't find out until years later when I rediscovered this song that the chemistry part is a euphemism for sex. And so and Dan Wilson's daughter was 3 years old at the time, maybe two. So that's one of my absolute favorite stories. Every time I tell that, my mom gets really defensive, and I'm like, no, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I think it's hilarious and even a little bit of good parenting, which is awesome. That was your clever way of having to have the talk with me a year or two before you needed to. Um, but that still sticks out. But over the past probably 6 years or so, I would say I came across that album and just Semisonic stuff in general, just listening to it again, and Dan Wilson's solo stuff, and just really started appreciating a lot more what an incredible songwriter he is, and from the great state of Minnesota. Like all of the artists that we are going to be showcasing today. So that was that. Now, speaking of great Minnesota artists, there is a band out of Minnesota called Soul Asylum. And my only connection to Soul Asylum is that my former guitar teacher used to share a rehearsal space with Soul Asylum and the people that were involved with Lips Inc. That sang Funky Town. And so that was Soul Asylum, but just a fabulous, fabulous band. Really came to prominence in the 90s and early 2000s. But they have a song called Runaway Train, and that inspired this particular song called Say What You Will. Now, I'm a very nerdy songwriter and not always in the literary sense that a Bob Dylan or a Josh Ritter is. I'm a little bit more straightforward, a little less metaphorical. But my trade-off for that is that I throw in some really weird references to. I throw in some really weird references to the song that was inspired by it, or that inspired it, I should say. And so uh, this song actually was inspired by the album "Say What You Will, Carl Sold the Truck," or "Say What You Will, Clarence, Carl Sold the Truck," I think it's called, which is a Soul Asylum record. And then there's one other one that I'll go over after I play it. Richard Wilson, thank you so much for tuning in, man. Richard does his live streams live in the writing room Wednesday nights, and that is at 8 o'clock Central Time. And then he does another one on Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock. That's a little bit more for his international crew, but it's just as good a time, there. So I appreciate that, man, and happy Halloween to you as well. So this is "Say What You Will" and "Runaway Train" by Soul Asylum, and the first one being by yours truly. I wanted more, there was something you wouldn't give. Even after everything we did, was there for you in your times of doubt. Once kissed you in every room of the house. Say what you will, I'm more concerned with what you don't. You should love me, but I know you probably won't. You somehow feel like I'm worth losing. You're the head of the Grave Dancers Union. I was your primer for what lay beyond. Wish that you cared when I was halfway gone. I always was asylum for your soul. Don't understand why you had to be so cold. Say what you will, I'm more concerned with what you don't. You should love me, but I know you probably won't. You somehow feel like I'm worth losing. You're the head of the Grave Dancers Union. Say what you will, be indecent. Only love me when it's convenient. Talk me up to the rest of the town. Dance on my grave when no one else is around. Say what you will, I'm more concerned with what you don't. You should love me, but I know you probably won't. You somehow feel like I'm worth losing. You're the head of the Grave Dancers Union. Say what you will, I'm more concerned with what you don't. You should love me, but I know you probably won't. You somehow feel like I'm worth losing. You're the head of the Grave Dancers Union. Say what you will. Say what you will. Call you up in the middle of the night, like a firefly without a light. You were there like a blowtorch burning. I was a key that could use a little turning. So tired that I couldn't even sleep. So many secrets I couldn't keep. Promised myself I wouldn't weep. One more promise I couldn't keep. It seems no one can help me now. I'm in too deep. There's no way out. This time I have really led myself astray. Runaway train, never going back. Wrong way on a one-way track. Seems like I should be getting somewhere. Somehow I'm neither here nor there. Can you help me remember how to smile? Make it somehow worth my while. How on earth did I get so jaded? Life's mystery seems so faded. I can go where no one else can go. Yeah, I know what no one else knows. Here I am, just drowning in the rain, with a ticket for a runaway train. And everything seems cut and dry, day and night, earth and sky. Somehow I just don't believe it. Runaway train, never going back. Wrong way on a one-way track. Seems like I should be getting somewhere. Somehow I'm neither here nor there. Bought a ticket for a runaway train, like a madman laughing in the rain. A little out of touch, a little insane. It's easier than dealing with the pain. Runaway train, never going back. Wrong way on a one-way track. Seems like I should be getting somewhere. Somehow I'm neither here nor there. Runaway train, never coming back. Wrong way, tearing up the track. Runaway train burning in my veins. I run, but I always seem to stay the same. All right, and that was Say What You Will and Runaway Train. That second one, like I said, being by Soul Asylum. Yeah, so I told you that there were some hidden references in that particular song. So there was one reference in there. First of all, I already explained the title, but there was also a line in the chorus that said, "You somehow feel like I'm worth losing. You're the head of the Grave Dancers Union." So Runaway Train is on an album called Grave Dancers Union, and I thought that was a really cool image. That, you know, a union, it kind of keeps people from getting fired from their jobs sometimes, and so you know, that's that. So it's like it kind of keeps up, it perpetuates that culture of, you know, kicking people when they're down and then staying that way, that like, yeah, we, you know, rose to power and we're going to stay there. And yeah, that whole song is basically just about people saying certain things to like to justify their behavior and kind of gaslighting you into into some things. Like, you know, the person that this song is about said like, oh, well, you know, you just need to channel how you love me in a different way. You know, and so, and it's like, well, no, I've been doing that for as long as I've known you. And so, no, that's not okay. And then Dave Primer was one of the members of Soul Asylum, and so your primer for what lay beyond, and then asylum for your soul, obviously, that as well. So that's 4 references, and I love it. I love it when it ends up working out that way. So this is a song. This next one kind of borders on the obscure, although they've had chart success, but obscure for me in the sense that you wouldn't normally think of me writing a song that was inspired by a rap song. But this is a weird one in terms of the inspiration, because basically what happened was I heard a song on Weevil it was a Brooks and Dunn song, which was kind of out of place on WEVL, but they play all kinds of different stuff. So they played that song, and I looked it up, and in terms of what album it was on, and it was on an album called Waiting on Sundown. So I thought, okay, that's a really good name for a song. So I think I'll write that song. And then I was like, okay, where do I want to go with this? And for some reason, the song "You" popped in my head when I was trying to figure out kind of the feel that I wanted. So I'm gonna do "Waiting on Sundown" and a song by Atmosphere called "You," and I hope you enjoy both of them. Waiting on sundown to love me, waiting on sundown for buzzing, giving up hope that you'll love me. You're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting on sundown to love me, waiting on sundown for buzzing. I've given up hope that you'll love me. You're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting on sundown. How long will it take? Isn't it both our turns to catch a break? How about you find a way to loving me? Why is that an option you can't see? Waiting on sundown to love me, waiting on sundown for buzzing. I've given up hope that you'll love me. You're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting on sundown to love me. Waiting on sundown for buzzing. I've given up hope that you love me. You're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting on sundown. You make life so great, I do the same, so I don't get why you make me wait. I love you for all your scars, so tell me why the hell is this so hard? Waiting on sundown to love me, waiting on sundown for buzzing. I've given up hope that you'll love me. You're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting on sundown to love me. Waiting on sundown for buzzing. I've given up hope that you'll love me. You're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting on sundown. So where do we go? I've done this before, but I don't know. You've run out of chances you can blow. 'Cause I keep coming back just to restart the same old show. Waiting on sundown to love me, waiting on sundown for buzzing. I've given up hope that you'll love me. You're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting on sundown to love me. Waiting on sundown for buzzing. I've given up hope that you'll love me. You're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting on sundown. You love the people that love you. You hear the music they groove to. You give your all to the fall through. But you don't know, you don't know, you don't know, you don't know. You love the people that love you. You hear the music they move to. You give your all to the fall through. But you don't know, you don't know, you don't know, you don't know you. You just got off work, huh? Another night feeling like the worst one. You don't even count your tips yet, but you can tell it ain't no big step. I don't see why you're so nice. The customers are all fucks and lowlife, but don't fight, just keep your lips stiff and get that money for the weekend shit. But why they all gotta be freaks? Wish they would just eat and leave. They keep them minds to themselves, already insecure, don't need no help. And you can blame your pride that makes you hold your anger inside, but deep off you wanna curse them all. fuck off, asshole, jerk off, dirtball. You love the people that love you. You hear the music they move to. You give your all to the fall through. But you don't know, you don't know, you don't know, you don't know. You love the people that love you. You hear the music they move to. You give your all to the fall through. But you don't know, you don't know, you don't know, you don't know you. Now attitude check, you still show up and you haven't quit yet. And even when you're meek and sweet, they still treat you like a piece of meat. Outrageous. Each day, this clock tick-tock and you still a waitress, still trying to pay them student loans and the lights and the phone and the food and the home, and you ain't quite broke. But you couldn't afford that place of your own. Got a roommate to split the rent with, and now you never feel independent, and everything seems so hollow. Cause after work, where does that smile go? Better bring it back tomorrow. Now pick up the pace, you might make the bar close. Perfect, last call and then some, flirting sexual tension. Surfing through them men, cause they all searching for that bent one, or just one to bend. And you look like you could be my friend. With a smile like that, I gotta flirt. Girl, you look like you just got off work. You love the people that love you. You hear the music they move to. You give your all to the fall through. But you don't know, you don't know, you don't know, you don't know. You love the people that love you. You hear the music they move to. You give your all to the fall through. But you don't know, you don't know, you don't know, you don't know you. You don't know, you don't know, you don't know, you don't know you. All right, and that was You. And before that, we had Waiting on Sundown, my original song, which was inspired by that Atmosphere song called You. It's kind of interesting. I was going back over this particular album, which has one of my favorite titles of all time, When Life Gives You Lemons, You Paint That Shit Gold. There are a couple of songs. There's actually another song called The Waitress, which is a really cool song, good song. And then there's this song. So, that's, that tells me that that's something real, in the songwriter's life. That's a really cool thing. I actually had the privilege of seeing Atmosphere a couple of years ago, December of a few years ago, with my friend Jacob, and it was a really, really cool show. It was Atmosphere, Lioness, and I can't remember who the third one was, but it was another act off of the Rhymesayers label, which is really cool. Really good tour. Good show there. But yeah, that's that. And the two wild cards I kind of put right in a row. And so I hope you enjoy those. And this was the one that I was really, really excited about. So this person that this particular record is about is, or this disc, I should say, of this larger record of 2 discs, is about this person that I've known for a super, super long time. And we just have never been able to get anything romantic off the ground. And we gave it a shot at one point and it didn't quite work. And then, time had passed and felt like we had grown closer and XYZ, but, she just kind of started taking me for granted again, which, she swore had nothing to do with, like I said, when we gave it a shot earlier. So it was just very, very confusing. And, that's kind of the idea behind this song or this record, in general, is that, I've done a lot of things for this particular person, and by no means do I feel entitled. But it's also just kind of weird to me that, like, in a lot of ways we're good for each other, and she just refuses to recognize that. And so that's just one of those things. We haven't talked in a while, just because of that. It's causing tension. And the other thing that I mentioned earlier in one of my other songs is that part of the tricky thing for me is that if I continue talking to this person, then it kind of shows that, like, the way that you treat me is okay. But she also, was kind of indifferent when I was saying, like, well, I'll find somebody else. And she's like, good, that's awesome. That's what I want. So it's like, she's happy for me because that's going to let her off the hook. And that's, so it's just kind of a weird position to be in, that, like, I don't want to stick around purely out of spite, but I don't necessarily want to stop talking because I don't know. But hopefully, it'll hurt a little bit more as time passes, and as she realizes that, like, yeah, I'm not to be taken for granted. And yeah, I really mean it this time. So anyway, that was kind of the genesis of this particular disc, and this particular song was actually inspired in title by a Josh Ritter song, or a Josh Ritter album, I should say. He just released an EP called "See Here, I Have Built You a Mansion," and I thought that was a really cool name for a song. And I couldn't quite get those words in the song itself, but the chorus mentions a mansion, and so I figured, hey, that's a good excuse to call the song that. But it was inspired by a song called Uncle Sam Goddamn by Brother Ali. And so I'm going to play that. And See Here, I Built You a Mansion. I'm going to play that one first. Welcome to the mansion I built. The flowers I plant ain't meant to wilt. Welcome to the mansion I built. You play in the dirt, you deserve the filth. You say you don't know how to heal. You say you don't know what is real. You wouldn't know good if it stared you in the face. Now you don't deserve me giving you breaks. Welcome to the mansion I built. Flowers I plant ain't meant to wilt. Welcome to the mansion I built. You play in the dirt, you deserve the filth. This procedure is long overdue. Not sure why I kept running back to you. It showed that behavior was alright. Now you gotta live with this the rest of your life. Welcome to the mansion I built. The flowers I plant ain't meant to wilt. Welcome to the mansion I built. You play in the dirt, you deserve the filth. This mansion could have been all yours, but I ain't gonna crawl on all fours. You only saw me as your clown, now you get to enjoy the view from halfway down. Welcome to the mansion I built. The flowers I plant ain't meant to wilt. Welcome to the mansion I built. You play in the dirt, you deserve the filth. Welcome to the mansion I built. The flowers I plant ain't meant to wilt. Welcome to the mansion I built. You play in the dirt, you deserve the filth. Welcome to the mansion I built. The flowers I plant ain't meant to wilt. Welcome to the mansion I built. You play in the dirt, you deserve the filth. Welcome to the United Snakes, land of the thief and home of the slave. Grand Imperial Guard, where the dollar is scarred and the power is God. Smoke and mirrors, straps and stars, strolling for the cross in the name of God. Bloodshed, genocide, rape and fraud, written to the pages of the law, good Lord. The cold continent latchkey child ran away one day, started acting foul. King of where the wild things are, daddy's proud, 'cause the Roman Empire done passed it down. Imported, tortured a workforce and never healed the wounds or shook the curse off. Now the grown-up Goliath nation holding open auditions for the part of David. Can you feel it? Nothing can save you. Your question is rain. You get rushed in and chained up. Fist raised, but I must be insane, 'cause I can't figure out a single goddamn way to change it. Welcome to the United Snakes, land of the thief and home of the slave. An imperial god where the dollar is scarred and the power is God. All must bow to the fat and lazy. The fuck you obey me, and why do you hate me? Who, me? Only 2 generations away from the world's most despicable slavery trade. Pioneered so many ways to degrade a human being that it can't be changed to this day. Legacy so ingrained in the way we think, we no longer need chains to be slaves. Lord, it's a shameful display. Overseers even got raped along the way. 'Cause the children can't escape from the pain, and they're born with the poisonous hatred in their veins. Try and separate the man from his soul, only strengthen him and you lose your own. But shoot that fucker if he walk near the throne. Remind him this is my home, now I'm gone. Welcome to the United Snakes, land of the thief and home of the slave. Grand Imperial God, where the dollar is scarred and the power is God. Welcome to the United Snakes, land of the thief and home of the slave. Grand Imperial God, where the dollar is scarred and the power is God. You don't give money to the bums on a corner with the sign bleeding from their gums. Talking about you don't support the crackhead. What do you think happens to the money from your taxes? Shit, the government's an addict with $1 billion we kill the brown people habit. And even if you ain't on the front line when Mr. Yell crunch time, you yell right back at it. Plain look at how you hustling backwards. At the end of the year, add up what they subtracted. 3 out of 12 months your salary pays for that madness. Man, that's savage. What's left? Get a big ass plasma to see what they make. Dan rather point the damn camera. Only your approved question get answered. Now stand your ass up for the national anthem. Welcome to the United Snakes, land of the thief and home of the slave. Grand Imperial God, where the dollar is scarred and the power is God. Welcome to the United Snakes, land of the thief and home of the slave. Grand Imperial God, where the power is God and the dollar is scarred. All right, and that was See Here I Have Built You a Mansion, followed by Uncle Sam Goddamn by Brother Ali. I also saw Brother Ali at the State Fair 9 years ago, that was, yeah. It was super cool. They took a bus to from St. Mary's to the Minnesota State Fair in St. Paul, and I ended up sticking around because I ended up getting well, obviously my parents live in St. Paul, and so I was able to stay overnight and all of that, yeah, it was super, super cool. Good show, for sure. It was part of the Minnesota Music on a Stick set which is just a really cool thing. But I actually first heard that track back in 2010. Um, it was part of this class called Seeking Justice, and we were talking about the power of music as a form of protest and all of that. And this was one of the songs that came up, and just a really good song. And I mean, it was written years ago, but some of the lyrics there, like the "Stand your ass up for the national anthem," things like that. I mean, that was like long before Colin Kaepernick, and so it's just a really really interesting thing. It's sad that that still holds up super super well, but here we are, and it does. So that's just one of those things. But like I said, really, really good song there. Now, way before that, there were basically two different movements of really good Minnesota music that got popular in the 70s and 80s. There was the Minneapolis sound, which was Prince, and then there was this kind of not, it was like pre-grunge, honestly. And a lot of these punk, it was punk, that's essentially what it was, but punk rock. And when the punk revival came back in the 90s with Green Day and all of those people, they were very, very heavily influenced by this little band out of Minneapolis called Husker Du. It was Bob Mould was the main guy, and I actually do another subtle reference to him in this next song. But this next song is a song called "Keep Me Off Speed Dial." And it was inspired by "I Don't Want to Know If You're Lonely," which apparently Green Day covered in on one of their live albums, I guess. But Husker Du did it originally. "I Don't Want to Know If You're Lonely," and "Keep Me Off Speed Dial" was a song. It was kind of long overdue, although I alluded to it, but hadn't really made a whole song of it. This person would call me up and just like, be all sorts of distraught about, the way that the person that she was dating at the time was, treating her and whatever. And as a good friend, I listened, but I'm like, man, like, you don't deserve this. And but then she just kept on going back, and then every once in a while she'd like call me up, and she just to tell me this like story that she thought was cute, that something he did. And I don't know if it was overcompensation, trying to justify being with him, or what the deal was, but it was just like, man, no. And so but kind of part of my point of this particular song is, within reason. um this particular person kind of deserves what she gets at a certain point, that like, if you keep on getting into these relationships with people who are like that shitty, and not all of them are that overtly shitty. Some of them, it just kind of happens out of nowhere. And I feel that. But the ones that you can help it with, it's like, why? Do you enjoy the project? Do you think that like you're gonna change this person and then people are gonna praise you for it? Like, that's just a really weird way to go about life. So this is just kind of my ode to that, saying I don't want to hear about it, whether it's going well or whether it's going poorly. Keep me off speed dial. So I'm going to play that and "Don't Want to Know If You're Lonely." And by the way, I'm going to do both of them acoustic, even though the second one might lend itself better to electric. Don't don't wanna hear all of the ways he treats you right, and how you sit up giggling as you talk to him at night. I hope he's toxic and leaves your mind in doubt right when it's too late for you to back out. And keep me off speed dial when you got stories about how wonderful he is. Keep me off speed dial when he does you wrong. You don't deserve happiness. You say he really breaks the mold, he's pledged to always grant his heart. He gets credit when I am the place where that trend got its start. So keep me off speed dial when you got stories about how wonderful he is. Keep me off speed dial when he does you wrong. You don't deserve happiness. Yeah, I don't wanna hear how he took the long drive from Bemidji just to see you in the middle of the night. Yeah, I don't wanna hear how sorry you are. This time you pushed me too far and you just aren't worth the fight. So keep me off speed dial when you got stories about how wonderful he is. Keep me off speed dial when he does you wrong. You don't deserve happiness. Keep me off speed dial when you got stories about how wonderful he is. Keep me off speed dial when he does you wrong. You don't deserve happiness. Yeah, I'm curious to know exactly how you are. I keep my distance, but that distance is too far. It reassures me just to know that you're okay. But I don't want you to go on needing me this way. And I don't want to know if you are lonely. I don't want to know if you are less than lonely. I don't wanna know if you are lonely. I don't wanna know, don't wanna know, don't wanna know. The day you left me feeling oh so bad. Still I'm not sure about the doubts that we had. From the beginning we both knew it wouldn't last. Decisions have been made, the die has been cast, and I don't want to know if you are lonely. I don't want to know if you are less than lonely. Don't want to know if you are lonely. Don't want to know, don't want to know, don't want to know. Don't want to know. The phone is ringing and the clock says 4 a.m. If it's your friends, well, I don't wanna hear from them. Please leave your number and a message at the tone. Or you can just go on and leave me here alone. And I don't wanna know if you are lonely. I don't wanna know if you are less than lonely. Yeah, I don't wanna know if you are lonely. Don't wanna know, don't wanna know, don't wanna know. Don't wanna know, don't wanna know, don't wanna know. All right, and that was Keep Me Off Speed Dial and I Don't Want to Know If You're Lonely. Yeah, again, that second song was by Husker Du. I had another little inside reference there when I said, you said he really breaks the mold and he promised to always grant his heart. Two of the members of Husker Du were Bob Mould and Grant Hart. And so I threw that in there. And I couldn't quite make it work with the third member, whose name I'm not even remembering at this point in time. But if you were listening and you know, please let me know, because that is something that I should know off the top of my head, but I do not. I appreciate everybody who is tuning in. Again, this is an all Minnesota music show. And I told my mom and brother, I said, you definitely want to tune in. And I said, it's all Minnesota music, unless you count the fact that that my original songs were written in Memphis. But I am still a Minnesota artist in a lot of senses. So that is that. So this next song is a song of mine called Gaslighter, and it was inspired by another song called Queen of Tomorrow by the Twilight Hours. Now, I mentioned earlier Dan Wilson and Semisonic and all of that fun stuff. And this song called Gaslighter was inspired by by a song called Queen of Tomorrow by a band called the Twilight Hours. Now, the Twilight Hours consist of, among other people, one other person whose name I'm not remembering at the moment, but the two main members are Matt Wilson and John Munson. And Matt Wilson is Dan Wilson's brother, and they were part of a band that was the precursor to Semisonic called Trip Shakespeare, and so they ended up reuniting in like 2008, 2009, something like that. 2009 was when this particular album was released, and they formed this band called the Twilight Hours. And this is the only song of theirs that I know super, super well. But this is Gaslighter and Queen of Tomorrow, and I hope you enjoy both of them. Well, we met back in the summer several years ago. You said you had a boyfriend who made you glow with the things you complained about. I never know. Yeah, you enjoyed the status. Phone calls with you stretched an hour or three. And when that ended, suggested going out with me. Needed time to heal your arm, ended before week 3. I felt it was madness. Told me he was there for you, maybe to light the gas all around your flu. That was the first time you left my offer on the table, just assuming I'd never be gone. You needed a fighter, you chose a gaslighter. 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 Yeah, I met him in August and was taken aback when he shook my hand and never did make eye contact. Can't believe you rejected me for that, but you liked the project. Call after call you started to complain, but felt like you got off on the pain. Cute stories about him drove me insane, and you ignored my audit. Told me he was there for you, maybe to light the gas all around your flu. That was the first time you left my offer on the table, just assuming it'd never be gone. You needed a fighter, you chose a gaslighter. You needed a fighter, you chose a gaslighter. fighter, you needed a fighter. You chose a gaslighter, you needed a fighter. You chose a gaslighter. You had another man who didn't quite pan out well, and I provided in you when you were leaving now. Another situation still rang a bell. You called on me finally. We didn't work out, but it will change since then. So I thought it would be different when I asked you when. I was sick of waiting on someone to leave a man. You didn't take too kindly. Tried to show you love that would never be gone. You reacted every time with emoticons. Maybe we both used each other as some pawns, but I really tried this time and was met with yawns. You say what we have is unique. I say what you and I haven't reached the peak. So you tell me how our love needs to be tweaked. But if that's the case, I'm not what you seek. I needed a fighter, I got a gaslighter. I needed a fighter, I got a gaslighter. I needed a fighter, I got a gaslighter. You needed a fighter, I needed a fighter. I got a gaslighter. I wanna tell you how I came to be a broken man. I was living with a singer in a local band. Such a sweet situation, didn't understand how it could end up in sorrow. Weekday morning she would leave for work to be the second secretary to a postal clerk, with a man on the sofa watching Captain Cook, my man of tomorrow. No mercy how she let me down. Now I know Queen Mary don't fool around. I keep calling information, but I flew away to the city by the ocean where she lives today. Where are you, I wonder? No number, no number. Where are you, I wonder? No number, no number. Where are you, I wonder? No number, no number. Where are you, I wonder? No number, no number. She had a Blu-ray box laying on its back and a colossal home stereo speaker stack with a custom-inch, quarter-inch input jack. It was hard not to borrow, but I remember what she told me when she turned to go. Don't play that guitar through my stereo, but I got hand-me-down speakers that are bound to blow, and I can't stand the sorrow. No mercy how she let me down. Now I know Queen Mary don't fool around. I keep calling information, but she flew away to the city by the ocean where she lives today. Where are you, I wonder? No number, no number. Where are you, I wonder? No number, no number. Where are you, I wonder? No number, no number. Where are you, I wonder? No number, no number. Well, the hair on my Mary was burning red, and her clothes made a circle all around her bed. She was a decent little singer. The band she led was called Queen of Tomorrow. Well, I'm a dedicated amateur electric hack, and there was every temptation from the speaker stack. She came home early and the shit was jacked. She said, sayonara. No mercy how she let me down. Now I know Queen Mary don't fool around. I keep calling information, but she flew away to the city by the ocean where she lives today. Got a job as a dime store clerk. Now a song is on the speaker every day at work. I keep dreaming of the man, that's where she lives today. Keep open, I can see her when she comes to play. Where are you, I wonder? No number, no number. Where are you, I wonder? No number, no number. Where are you, I wonder? No number, no number, number. Where are you, I wonder? No number, no number, number. No number, number. No number, number. No number, number. All right, and that was Queen of Tomorrow, what I just played, and before that, I played my original song, which was called Gaslighter. Kind of the word of the year here, and or word of the last 4 years, if you want to really go there. All right, so we are going to move on, and this is a song by the Jayhawks, who my friend Rory really likes. I know I've played their songs before and told this story, but my friend Rory Sullivan really likes them, and he's from Memphis. And then my mom and my neighbor Paul both love the Jayhawks as well, and tipped me off in the rainy day music era. But this particular one was inspired by a song of theirs from 1992 called Waiting for the Sun, which sounds quite a bit like, well, first of all, in title, my song Waiting on Sundown, but the guitar part sounds very similar to Mary Jane's Last Dance by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, or at least Tom Petty. Yeah, no, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Yeah, that one confuses me because it was on their greatest hits album as Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, but it was recorded for the Wildflower Sessions, which is a Tom Petty solo album. But that's a debate for another time. So this was inspired by "Waiting for the Sun" by the Jayhawks, and the idea for the song came to me that, this person really enjoys dancing, and we went out to hear some music when she was in Memphis, and just kind of started dancing to some of the songs because they were catchy and whatever. And a friend of mine was drunk out of his mind, so there was that. But stole this person as a dance partner. And and it was one of those things where, again, like, he was drunk. It was funny. Like, he didn't do anything inappropriate or anything like that. So, like, I still find it humorous. But the thing is that I kind of use that as like as a springboard for the larger problem, which was, in general, she just kind of goes out of her way to give love to other people who were not me. And I honestly think that part of the reason for it is that I'm a little bit of a threat to whoever she's dating, but the other two, it's like, whatever, nothing's going to happen with them. But either way, it leads to, her saying like, oh, Mike's not somebody you have to worry about, which drives me up a wall. So this is Dancing and Waiting for the Sun. You have told me you like to dance. Long as I've known you meant the chance. It could have been on our wedding day, but instead you just danced away. So all this anger's been building up. You didn't know it takes two to tango. I may have misstepped a time or three, but I was just following your lead. I was committed this time to waltz, so this one can only be your fault. Now you're trying to shift the blame, saying my love just needs to change. But I've mastered shifting my moves, and you won't love me at a new angle. The tempo keeps changing when you say I'll never be good enough for your sway. Unless you don't love me, there's no reason to delay. When we danced in those Memphis nights, you were stolen by another guy. You did not really seem to mind till now. I didn't see it as a microcosm. The tempo keeps changing when you say I'll never be good enough for your sway. Unless you love me, there's no reason for delay. The tempo keeps changing when you say I'll never be good enough for your sway. Unless you love me, there's no reason for delay. I was waiting for the sun, then I walked on home alone. What I didn't know was he was waiting for you to fall. So I never made amends for the sake of no one else, and for the simple reason that he was waiting for you to fall. It was not lost on me. It was not lost on me. Walking on down the road, looking for a friendly handout. Somebody new is my soul. So I kept my spirits high, entertaining the passers-by. Wrapped them in my confusion while he was waiting for you to fall. It was not lost on me. It was not lost on me. Walking on down the road, walking on down the road, looking for a friendly handout. someone to ease my soul. You was not lost on me. You was not lost on me. Walking on down the road. 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 All right, and that was Dancing and Waiting for the Sun, the second of which was by the Jayhawks, local band. Just like all of these bands tonight are from Minnesota. And most of them are like when I say from Minnesota, Vince Vaughn is from Minnesota too, but he, moved to Chicago and he's kind of a sellout in that regard. And there are a couple of those here, but but what I mean by live there is spend a good chunk of time there. In terms of being from there. And this next band is no exception to that. So the band Marcy Playground, best known for their song Sex and Candy, they are actually from Minneapolis, Minnesota. We'll forgive them anyway for being from Minneapolis. That was, I guess, a little bit out of their control. But, still from Minnesota. And the band was actually named after there was a school, and actually I think it's still open. It's called. Let me look this up really quick. It's not Marcy Elementary, but it's Marcy and then something weird. But Marcy Open Elementary School. That's what it was. I was missing that adjective. So Marcy Open Elementary School. I don't know what the open part means. But they were childhood friends, the band members, and so they ended up naming themselves after the playground on the school. And similar to one of my favorite artists, who I don't even have to say his name, you know who that is, who left his life in Minneapolis for a life in New York. And that's where Marcy Playground ended up being based in the 90s. But like Soul Asylum, like Semisonic, all kinds of really, really good music that was coming out of Minnesota in the 90s. And that also includes gosh, I am blanking on this, but there's a record label or a recording say in Cannon Falls, Minnesota, where Nevermind was recorded. Pachyderm Records, that's what it's called. And so there's this huge revival of music in Minnesota in the 90s, and thanks to a couple of these bands that I've been playing, Semisonic, Marcy Playground, and Soul Asylum. So that's a really, really cool thing. But anyway, this song is a song of mine that's called Can't Do This Anymore, and it was inspired by Sex and Candy by Marcy Playground, which, by the way, is a very good Halloween song. I'd like to say I did that on purpose, but it just ended up working out that way. Holding on, addicted to the mode in which we talked for years, and now at times we would explode with bursts of love, and at times bursts of disdain, but you assume I'd always come down from the pain. but I can't do this anymore. And I came back and you did the same as before. You no longer have my permission to abuse me in the same old way. Kept the faith, though you made me break. But after years of this same old thing, you were someone I had to shake. I have misstepped, but here I did all I could. I'll save my breath for someone who treats me like they should. Yeah, I can't do this anymore. Yeah, I came back and you did the same as before. You no longer have my permission to abuse me in the same old way. Yeah, I can't do this anymore. Yeah, I came back and you did the same as before. You no longer have my permission to abuse me in the same old way. Hanging around downtown by myself, and I've had so much time to sit and think about myself. And there she was, like double cherry pie. There she was, like disco superfly. I smell sex and candy. Who's that lounging in my chair? Who's that casting devious stares in my direction? Mama, this surely is a dream. Hanging around downtown by myself, and I've had so much caffeine, and I've been thinking about myself. And there she was, wearing that platform leather suede. There she was, like disco lemonade. Yeah, I smell sex and candy. Who's that lounging in my chair? Who's that casting devious stares in my direction? Mama, this surely is a dream. Digging, yeah, this must be my dream. All right, and that was Sex and Candy and Can't Do This Anymore. The second of which, well, I played them, not in the order I described them, but Sex and Candy is by Marcy Playground. And that song came about because John Wozniak, the lead singer, his roommate at some point just like walked into his apartment and said that it smelled like sex and candy. And similar to me with Amber Ray Dunn, if somebody says something that ridiculous, you got to turn it into a song. And so I am happy for that. That song was on like the original Now That's What I Call Music. It was just called Now back then. But that was on that particular album, and so that was the first time I heard it, and I was like, I don't know, all of 6 years old. But 6 years ago, when Maroon 5 released their album called 5, Sex and Candy was a bonus track. They recorded their own version of it, and it was really, really good. So I kind of cover it a little bit more in that style, but try to do a mix of both. Sorry for that noise out there, but this is that is that. And like I said, Marcy Playground eventually moved to New York, but they were originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota, which for musical purposes we'll say is part of Minnesota. But this is this is all Minnesotans featured in this set list, myself included. And so we just have a couple more. And one of the next songs that we're going to play is a song called Convenience Store. And this is one that was inspired by, depending on who you talk to, this is a Prince song. And that's one of those things, because the person who inspired the song that inspired this song, that's a mouthful, but the person who inspired that particular song, this particular song that I'm going to play, well, let me just start over with that sentence. So this is a song called Convenience Store, and it was inspired by Nothing Compares to You. Now, some people view that as a Sinead O'Connor song. Other people view it as a Prince song. Prince wrote it, and he actually did record it. He did record it. But the weird thing about Prince, I mean, this is not the weirdest thing about Prince, but one of the weird things about Prince that's kind of crazy about his career is that he reached a point in the mid to late 80s where he had so much music that he had to start giving songs away. And when he couldn't find anybody to give the song to, he just created bands so that they could sing it. And so there was this band called The Family that released it in like 1985, I want to say. And so that was that. But he wrote this one, and then Sinead O'Connor made it super, super famous in 1990. But this is a song called Convenience Store, like I said. There's a little Allman Brothers reference in there, too, in the lyrics, and I'll point that out after I play it. But this is Convenience Store, and Nothing Compares to You. Yeah, I watched as you try to help less deserving man, and now to hear you brag. They took you to prom 'cause you felt sorry for them. I was the threat, so I went stag. We talk every day and do so with ease. So why does your love lag? I kept waiting in line, now I'm not sure what for, 'cause my love ain't an item at a convenience store. I checked your oil, wiped your window, you pumped dollar gas, whatever would make your car go fast. The candy you bought in the store might taste good now, but you know it ain't gonna last. You make it clear to your friends they signed up for life, but that doesn't give you the green light to ignore. 'Cause my love ain't an item at a convenience store. Your favorite candy they ran out of. You report to me, the clerk. It's your fault for being so reliant, yet somehow I am the jerk. You're just angry that you can't treat me all the ways you were so used to before. But my love ain't an item, no, my love ain't an item at a convenience store. It's been 7 hours and 13 days since you took your love away. Now I go out every night and sleep all day since you took your love away. Since you've been gone, I can do whatever I want. I can go wherever I choose, eat my dinner at a fancy restaurant, but nothing can take away these blues. 'Cause nothing a mess, nothing a mess to you. It's been so lonely without you here. I'm like a bird without a song. Nothing can stop these lonely tears from falling. Tell me, where did I go wrong? I could put my arms around every girl I see, but they'd only remind me of you. I went to the doctor, and guess what he told me? He said, boy, you'd better try to have fun, no matter what you do, but he's a fool. 'Cause nothing a mess, no, nothing a mess to you. And all the flowers that you planted, mama, in the backyard all died when you went away. And I know that living with me, baby, was sometimes hard, but I'm willing to give it another try. 'Cause nothing a mess, nothing a mess, nothing a mess to you. All right, and that was a Convenience Store. Like I said, that was inspired by Nothing Compares to You by Prince. However, in that second line where I said, I checked your oil, wiped your window, you pumped dollar gas, it's actually an Allman Brothers reference. They have a live album called Check the Oil, Wipe the Window, Dollar Gas. And I always thought that was a funny album title, and like to throw that little thing in there every once in a while, or some sort of reference, as you've seen throughout the night. So that is that. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm going to tell you right now, too, that if you missed any of the broadcast, you are definitely going to want to, want to go back and check out the other songs. I've got a really, really diverse set, and I felt like I did a really good job with these particular songs. Even though some of them were a little bit out of my style, I just felt like I was really on track tonight. So I appreciate those of you who tuned in. Hopefully you agree. And I think in the comments section I have I have the tip information, but then I also have a link to I'm doing a fundraiser for my birthday, which is on Tuesday, and that is to raise money for the Epilepsy Foundation of East Tennessee. And so I have a link in the comments, or in the description, I should say, of the video, if you'd like to donate. And I would be totally fine with that as well. Or if you are not in a position or don't want to donate, then that's totally cool too. I just appreciate you guys listening. This is such a good way for me to get my music back out there, because I was telling somebody else that I have enough songs right now to I just finished my 96th album and I'm almost 28. So if I release an album a year from here on out, then I have enough albums to last me until I'm 124 years old. So I need some sort of way to play them and see which ones I should prioritize. But I really, really like this set a lot. It's a good way to showcase Minnesota artists who are not named Minnesota Mike. But speaking of Minnesota artists, the last one that's going to be featured on tonight's show, and like I said, this is a 2-week affair. And so I'll have some more positive songs next week, because that is The Cure. But that's going to be some more Minnesota artists that I'm spotlighting there. But I appreciate you tuning in. This last guy that I'm going to spotlight is a guy named Jeremy Messersmith. And I was fortunate enough to be able to meet him and take a songwriting lesson from him. And a lot of it wasn't really a lesson. We just kind of talked shop, and he gave a review of Wild Wild West and a few of my other songs. He gave me some feedback on it, and he said, "Wow, you have a really good sense of narrative," and that was a really cool compliment. I've held on to that for a very long time. And one of the things that we talked about was musical bridges, and he said, "Oh, what's your favorite bridge?" And I said "One" by U2, and he said, "Oh, I can't think of what that is off the top of my head." So I sang it for him, and he goes, "Yeah, that is really good. Now that you're saying that, like, it just flowed, like," and we were just completely on the same page. Now I say that with a bit of regret, because this Jeremy Messersmith song that I'm going to play after I play my song is called Bridges. So had I been thinking a little bit more, I would have just referenced this song and said, well, we can take the Buick. But this is Bridges, and before that, I'm gonna showcase another way of getting from place to place, and this is a song called Every Road. And when I wrote this song, I knew that this was going to be the last track. It was kind of toward the end of what I was writing, but I just put it as the 10th track because I knew it was going to be the last song on the record. But this is Every Road and Bridges by Jeremy Messersmith. Bad roads all leading to beautiful destinations. At least that's what they've told me since my heart first broke. But after many trials and many tribulations, that just seems like lore from a few privileged folks. Every road I've seen looks paved, but every road I've seen looks paved. Every road I've seen looks paved, but every road I've seen looks paved. Every road I've seen looks paved, but every road I've seen looks paved. Every road I've seen looks paved, but every road I've seen looks paved. Every road I've seen looks paved, but every road I've seen looks paved. Every road I've seen looks paved, but every road I've seen looks paved. Every road I've seen looks paved, but every road I've seen looks paved. Every road I've seen looks paved, but every road I've seen looks paved. Every road I've seen looks paved, but every road I've seen looks paved. Every road I've seen looks paved, but every road I've seen looks paved. Every road I've seen looks paved, but every road I've seen looks paved. Every road I've seen till some gravel comes my way. Every road can lead to bliss when they are dead and like this. Yeah, I can't use the back road, even that one's frosting. It's against my instinct to lean into my skin. They say the journey's worth it, but they're just overglossing. They don't know how to handle all the things you did. Every road I've seen looks paved till some gravel comes my way. Every road can lead to bliss when they are dead and like this. Every road I've seen looks paved till some gravel comes my way. Every road can't lead to bliss when they are dead and like this. We could take the Buick, lately we've been walking. Stomping on the bridges just outside of town. Suddenly you tell me you never felt so wanted. And you wouldn't mind it if I stuck around. But I'm gonna hurt you, make you cry. Only thing I need is time. I'm gonna hurt you, bleed you dry. Fog rolls on the river and stuffed in my pockets. Barely making out all the ships below. Even though I love you, I'll break you like a promise. Trust me when I say you're better off alone. Yeah, I'm gonna hurt you, make you cry. Only thing I need is time. I'm gonna hurt you, bleed you dry. Your sleazy smile unfolded when you took my hand. Somehow a perfect moment. Never felt so bad. I'm gonna hurt you, make you cry. Only thing I need is time. I'm gonna hurt you, bleed you dry. I'm gonna hurt you, make you cry. Only thing I need is time. I'm gonna hurt you, bleed you dry. All right, and that was Every Road and Bridges, the second one being by Jeremy Messersmith. I appreciate you guys tuning in to the part one of the Everything That Dies live stream. This was The Curse. So, of the two sides of the album, the two discs, however you want to put it, this particular one was definitely the darker of the two. But that last song is really interesting in terms of how it relates to me. And I mean, the funny thing is with a lot of these songs, like the All About Chemistry, or the I'm sorry, She's Got My Number from All About Chemistry, and Bridges, which is off of an album called Heart Murmurs. When I was in Spain, and whenever I would feel homesick, those two albums really kind of helped me feel like, okay, it's going to be all right. They helped me relax. And with the person that I met in Spain that I was romantically involved with, that's not who this album was about, but the way that this album ended was saying that, like, oh no, I'm going to be the one. Now I'm going to be the one to hurt you and make you cry, whoever's next, right? And so that kind of ties together the idea behind The Curse. That it started off with this particular person in Spain, that she was the one who was cursed, and then she did the same thing that that her dad did, albeit not necessarily cheating on me to my knowledge, but just kind of getting a better offer and ditching me once she got that, which was really shitty. And so that's kind of that. And then everything that I kind of complain about her, doing that, my fear is that in a new relationship, I might do that. That, like, because I've seen all this hurt, and, similar to that person, that, I might be the one who now does something similar, and all of that, or that, I'll put myself out there, and now I'm cursed that I can't find anybody that's gonna truly love me, and all of that, in a romantic sense. So that's going to kind of be the theme of next week. Not to give anything away there, but it's definitely a little more positive, a little bit more that, like, hey, this person legitimately could be the cure to all of those troubles and all of that. But yeah, I mean, this was a really, really fun album to write for, even though it took like 3 tries to get it right. But I made it my priority at the beginning of October, and ended up finishing it in the first 6 days of the month, which is really, really cool. Yeah, so I mean, just to recap, it was Semisonic that was who inspired the first song. Soul Asylum inspired the second song. Atmosphere inspired the third song. Brother Ali and Josh Ritter. And I guess Waiting on Sundown too, that Brooks and Dunn influence in there. And then Josh Ritter inspired that next one, See Here I Have Built You a Mansion. Husker Du threw them in there as an influence. And stay tuned for a little bit more punk influence. And then we had Gaslighter, which was inspired by um, by the Twilight Hours. Queen of Tomorrow, that was their song. Dancing was inspired by Waiting for the Sun by the Jayhawks. And Can't Do This Anymore was inspired by Sex and Candy. And that last song, like I said, Every Road was inspired by Jeremy Messersmith. So diverse group of white men in bow ties that inspired that particular set. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. And next week will be the Everything That Dies live stream part 2, and that will be The Cure. I am really looking forward to that. Stay safe. Thank you for tuning in, whether you tuned in the moment or late. I am Minnesota Mike. Again, I'm on Spotify and iTunes, Facebook, Instagram, and of course YouTube, and now Twitch too, which is exciting. So thank you so much for tuning in.